Hi and welcome to Dramatic Knits. My name is Steve, also known as Dramatic Knits, and today is Sunday, November 29th, 2015. This is episode 233. If you're a returning viewer, thanks for coming back one more week, and if you're new, hopefully you will enjoy today's show and come back in the future. As you can see, I am flying solo this week. Callie unfortunately had meetings sprung upon her for her leadership training that she is currently going through. So she was unable to schedule time in today. She is very, very busy, so I do not blame her at all. And unfortunately, we came to the realization that she won't be with us next week either due to scheduling conflicts with other meetings and work things and engagements that she has to be in. And I'm actually traveling to Indiana next Friday night and Saturday for one side of Andy's family's Christmas celebrations. So I will be recording next week on Sunday, but she is unable to attend, so we'll be sans Callie for 2 weeks, but we'll get through. And she'll be back with, I'm sure, lots of progress. She's excited to show you some socks she's been working on, she told me. So as you can see, I am recording with my glasses, and yes, these are some new glasses. I've had these for probably a little over a week, and I've realized if I keep my head a little bit this way, I avoid the glare out the window, and if I turn down the brightness on my screen, then I don't get the reflection, because usually my screen is a lot brighter, and it reflects off the glasses. So I've been going more for the glasses rather than the contacts as of late, especially even at work. So maybe more going to glasses more full-time like I used to do. So I'm going to try not to turn so much that way so you don't get the glare in my eyes. But I'm a fan of these glasses. It seems like every time I go in to look at glasses, I think, oh, I'm going to go smaller and less obtrusive and noticeable. And I put those on and I don't care for them. And I just keep going bigger and bigger. So I really like these ones. Andy says I think he's getting used to them. He said it reminds him of an old director, from the 70s, and you could be a star, kid. I don't know, but I like them. So it's a little bit of a relaxing Sunday here. We're doing a lot of dyeing and rescanning and working on things this morning, but I decided to take a little bit of time out to record for you guys. I've got some things I want to show you, some things I want to talk about, and yeah, let's get right into it. So, quick week in review for myself. I had a very short work week. I taught for 2 days, Monday and Tuesday. So Monday was Monday and Tuesday was my Friday, and it was glorious. Got through that, and Wednesday, my sister and myself went to my local yarn store, which is now Les Moutons Rouge Knittery in Bloomington, Illinois. And as I'm going to talk about here later in the show, we are doing a trunk show with them on the 12th of December. So we went over there to kind of get a lay of the land, which, I know the store. I'd been there before, but to kind of plan out where Lady Fiber Arts was going to take a stake in her floor plan for the trunk shows and everything going on. So we had lunch, and then we talked with the LYS owner for, half hour, 45 minutes, and came back, and the dogs got groomed that day, so that was good. Sorry if you can hear bells. Andy actually bought jingle bells to put on the back door in the hopes of training the dogs to ring it when they want to go outside. Now, that was not them ringing it, that was him going down to the basement to hang up yarn to dry, but so if you hear that, sorry. I actually was thinking about recording down in the studio, and I actually downloaded some of the software that I use to upload the podcast. But then I realized that with Andy being home and he's playing video games, it might be even more obtrusive to the podcast. And to be honest with you, I have all my notes on this computer, and I was like, well, I don't really know how to forward them to the computer downstairs because I use the Stickies app, and there's a lot of them. Not to mention bringing everything downstairs, all my works in progress and everything. So it's easier to bring up a tub full of shop stuff to show you than to bring down all my projects. So anyway, so Wednesday we did that. Thursday was Thanksgiving. And by we, I mean Andy made a ton of food. I helped peel potatoes. That's all I had to do all day. And we had so much food. My mom and sister came over. Callie stopped by and had dinner. She wasn't feeling the best, so she actually Um, Left pretty soon after dinner, which, that's fine. But we had everything you could think of. 2 different types of. We had yams, sweet potatoes, green bean casserole, homemade rolls, turkey breast, uh, lots of things. Pumpkin pie, lemon bars, homemade mashed potatoes and gravy. It was good. Deviled eggs. Be jealous. Anyway, it was really good, and it was nice to have a family gathering. We stayed in our PJs all day. We told everybody who came over, be relaxed. My mom and sister actually left before even dessert, they wanted to go Black Friday shopping. So I know my sister wanted to go to Kohl's, and my mom wanted to go to the not local Walmart. So I think they enjoyed that from what I've heard. And Friday I was busy with shop stuff, and pretty much the same yesterday and today. So been keeping ourselves busy, but I've got some crafting done. So let's get into what's taking about. I have absolutely nothing that's taking about this week, so no finished objects, but close on one that I just started on Friday. But anyway, let's show you what you've already seen. So the first thing is Portage by Melissa Shashwari. I'm using Elizabeth Lebold Silky Wool in color number 65, which is spruce. And I'm knitting that on sizes 5, 6, and 7. So, as you know, if you've been watching for a while, the body has been done for a while, and I am working on the garter stitch panel that goes up the fronts and around the collar. And it is a very thick garter stitch panel. It's about 6 inches I've got to do. And I'm in the middle of a row, so you're not going to be able to see much. But actually, I'm going to show it to you inside out. Here it is in all its glory. It's on a very small 32-inch cable for all those stitches. And I just stopped in the middle of the row because it's garter stitch. But I am about 3 inches, so I'm about halfway done with the garter stitch panel. So it's got to go to 6 inches, and it actually is meant to fold back, fold over. So that's going. Just, a little bit here or there. The second thing is Polyphony by Sarah Burghart Abram. Could help if I don't zip up my yarn in my project bag. And I'm using Leading Men Fiber Arts Show Stealer in Copper Cloud, Eternal Kiss, and Nude Scene. So I've been on the third color for a while, and it's just more garter stitch going back and forth. Here it is this week. I haven't been doing the Dicky Doos, but it's big. So it's going. I still have that much yarn left. But I mean, I could end it whenever I wanted to, but I feel like I want to show how much a skein can get out, especially since it's going to be a shop sample, and the pattern is written to use up everything until you're almost out of yarn. So I want to take advantage of that awesome pattern technique. Alright, third up is Mix It Up by Jana Huck. I'm using local alpaca that has been mill spun to a fingering weight. One color is their natural white. The second color we've dyed in our blue steel colorway. And I'm using size 5 US, I believe. Let me double check that. Nope, 3 US, 3.25 millimeter. You'd think I'd know by now. Anyway, this is going. I'm on the last official repeat before I get to do something different, which will be nice. But the rows are getting outrageously long, and to be honest with you, I don't think I moved this Dicky Doo from the previous week, so I didn't do all that much progress, but here it is in all its glory. Very, very much bunched up on the needles. Large swaths of color. So this is like going to be a massive piece when it's done. Not very deep, but very, very long. Alright, next on the needles are my Bah Humbug socks. I was sent this yarn for a review by Katie of Mint Rain Hand Dyed Yarns, and I knew I wanted to get them right on the needles as soon as I can, and so I work on these a little bit during my planning period, maybe 10-15 minutes every day if I can, and I also work on them while I'm rescanning down downstairs. So I did finish the first sock. Here it is. I'm loving it. I love the cushiness. I love the sport weightness. I just made that up of it. I did 10 rounds of 2x2 maybe ribbing. I think so. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's no 2x1. I think it's a 2x1. Pretty sure. Yep. Good to know for the second one. 2x1 ribbing, and then I did 50 more rounds in straight stockinette, put in the ripcord. I did 60 rounds down the foot to match the top, and then I did a rounded toe, which means I decrease. I knit 3 rounds straight, I do a decrease round, I knit 2, I do a decrease round, I knit 1, and then I decrease every round until I have 12 stitches on either needle, and then I do a do the Kitchener stitch. So just this morning while I was rescanning, I ripped out the ripcord, I picked up and knit 1 round, and I will knit 3 more rounds, so 4 rounds in total before I start decreasing, and then I'll do the same thing I did for my toe. So so I pick up and knit an additional 3 rounds without decreasing to give a little bit more room in the heel. Then I'll decrease, knit 3 rounds straight, decrease, knit 2, decrease, knit 1, decrease, 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 and again until I have 12 stitches on the needles. Now usually I will knit both socks before I do the heels, but where I had put the ripcord in was in this red stripe. When I finished the toe, as you can see, just right there I had red, so I was like, I might as well, rather than rip out a whole color repeat or half a color repeat or whatever it is, because as you can see here I started with where the teal and brown meet. So I decided I might as well just pick up and do the heel. Now when I weighed the ball of yarn after I was done with the first socks, I had 66 grams left. So that meant I have 16 grams to play with in the heel. So hopefully I will have enough, and hopefully the colors will match and everything, and I'll have enough yarn. Sport weight, one skein for men's size 10.5. Can be pushing it. I've done it, but it goes right up to the edge. So hopefully that's why I didn't want to pull any extra out. I just started with the heel. Now you could just add in the heel. No one's going to really see it. They're going to be looking at the top of your foot. But that's that. And again, as a reminder, so what I do to make my socks that match exactly is when I start the long tail cast on, I put the yarn over the needle right at a color change. So for this one, it was the color change between the teal and the brown. And I will do the exact same thing, so you get one row, that cast on row, in the first color, and then it goes into a full color section of the next color. And that way you've started in the exact same place on both socks. So that's that. And I'm knitting that on a size 2 US, which is a 2.75 millimeter. Alright, the last thing on my needles I decided to cast on Friday. I was like, I can't cast on anything else. But then I started to get gift-giving guilt. And so, quick backstory. When we were vending at Stitches Midwest, one of our friends, she's definitely a friend, but she is also a huge fan of Leading Men Fiber Arts, Amber, stopped by our booth. And Amber had just recently knit several hats in our Dames of Sea colorway, Orange You Jealous, and Newt Scene. And she was doing Bears caps for her family because they are huge Bears fans. Well, my leading man, Andy, his brother is a huge Bears fan as well. So he had asked me to knit up Bears hats that said Bears in color work. And I said, I don't have any inclination to do that or any time or patience for that. And so he actually asked Amber if she would knit up not only a hat for Andy's brother, but also a hat for our nephew. So they have matching Bears hats, and Amber was pleased and tickled pink to be asked and so worried, but she did an amazing job. The hats are wonderful. So we are going to be gifting those as part of our Christmas gifts to Andy's brother and our nephew. So they're going to have matching hats. Well then, Andy's like, well, what are you going to give Avery, which is our niece? And I said, well, I don't have anything for Avery this year. I don't have time for that with everything with the business and blah, 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 blah. And I started to feel guilty. So I decided that I was going to cast on a hat for Avery, and we actually have an Avery colorway. And this was the colors were picked out by Andy's mom. And so when we dyed the yarn, we let her pick out the colorway name, and of course she named it after her granddaughter. And so Andy had asked me a while ago, he was like, could you do a hat or make something out of Avery colorway for Avery and or Avery's mom, Andy's sister-in-law. And I said, eventually, but not right now. So then this guilt started to kick in. And I said, well, let me see what I have in Avery already dyed up in the shop. And I had it in, I think, Box Office or Worsted and Callback or Sport Weight base. So I said, well, let me see what patterns I have in those bases, preferably in my queue, if not in my library. And one of the things that popped up was a recent design out of our yarn, which was the Kiralyn hat by Delusional Knitter Designs. It's a tongue twister. So I decided it called for our sport weight, and I decided it had toddler sizes because our niece is about 2, and so I decided, well, it's got the toddler sizes. I will nab a skein of the Avery colorway, which looks like this, in our sport weight, and I will cast on a hat for our niece in the toddler size. So I did the Kiralyn hat, and I'm almost done. I've got to do about 5 more rounds in stockinette, and then I will start the decreases. So once it's on a head, it's got this really lovely stockinette mixed with this garter band with elongated stitches. But once it's on a head, it will, stretch out and not do this welting. Okay? But I've got to do about 5 more rounds and then do the decreases at the top, and this hat is going to be done. Now, the nice thing about this is if you do a toddler size, I haven't done the math for the other one. There's newborn, oh, here it is. Newborn, 12 months, toddler, child and teen, and adult. So there's 5 sizes in this pattern, and it's only a $3 pattern, okay? Now, if you do the toddler size, you should have enough yarn in one skein of our callback to do an adult hat and a toddler size, okay? Let me just check the yardage right now to see if you can get an adult in something. So my plan is to knit an adult one after this out of the remainder and have matching hats as well for mom and daughter. So the toddler size calls for 115 yards. The adult size calls for 150, so that's 265. This is 328 yards. The child teen says it's 130. So yeah, you're going to have enough to get, you would have enough to get 2 adult hats out of one skein of callback because it only calls for 150 yards of sport weight. So you can get 2 hats out of one skein. Just letting you know. So if you have a best friend, you want to knit a hat for yourself and a best friend, and it's super easy and quick and gets a wonderful technique without being too difficult. So I highly, highly, highly recommend the Kiralyn hat, and that is Kyrahlin on Ravelry. Okay. So, and that is on a size 3 US 3.25 millimeter as well. So that's all that I'm working on this week. All right, what's in rehearsal? Just the adult hat of the Kiralyn hat. So, let's move on to behind the scenes, what I'm spinning this week. I did finish some spinning. I finished some commission spinning, which was the Fiber Nymph Dye Works Falkland in the Kaleidoscope colorway. And I did it as a 2-ply fractal. I have not washed or thwacked it yet. And I did have a lot left over on one bobbin, a decent amount, which I had to take off. But I'm happy with it. I'm a little disappointed with the yardage because I felt like I was spinning it so thin. And it is thin, but I got 380 yards of a 2-ply light fingering weight. Now, it may bloom up a little bit after I wash and thwack it to a full fingering weight. I classified it as a fingering. Some places it's a little thinner. But I'm so happy with the subtleness of the colors. It's really nice. So this will be going out in the mail next week once it's been washed and thwacked. And so I used my random number generator on my fiber stash, and it picked for me my next spinning project, which is Three Waters Farm Falkland, so another Falkland base in the Cool Soil Blue Sky colorway. Now, this is one of the top of the month club shipments that I received, and which is good because I'm getting quite a stash of it, but I would not give it up for the world. I love their colors and I love every shipment, and wait till you see this month's that I got. Anyway, so here's 2 ounces of it. It's got these wonderful browns and golds and rusty oranges and dark blues and lighter blues. I mean, just the variation of the colors. So I'm doing a 2-ply fractal spin on it. Surprise, but that's what I like to do. I'm trying to spin it a little bit thicker. I got 3 little tufts of fiber on the wheel. That's all I've gotten done. But I've been trying to focus on this hat a lot to make sure I get it done, because we're going to Christmas next weekend. But we'll be going back to Indiana 2 weeks after that on the 19th for his other side of the family. So I'm thinking I may give the knitted gifts at that time. So we'll see. We'll see. So that's what I'm spinning. So let's move into In the Spotlight. What am I watching and reading? I'm not going to tell you anything about what I'm reading this week because I haven't finished anything, and I'm trying to keep those reviews down to things that I finished. What am I currently watching? No movies. American Horror Story Hotel took this week off. We're still watching House of Cards. I'm getting close to the end of season 2, so enjoying that. I have 1 episode left of Hemlock Grove season 3, and I have a feeling that this is the last season for them. Now, this is a Netflix original, so it's just like House of Cards is. It's only available on Netflix. However, like I said, I do think Hemlock Grove is coming to an end. They're killing off a lot of characters here these last couple of episodes, so I think they're wrapping that up. We did watch The Walking Dead. It is on again tonight, and I asked Andy, I was like, oh, is there a new episode? He says, I don't know, I don't care. He vowed if the situation with Glenn, if you watch this, turned out a certain way, the way it did turn out, that he would stop watching the show, because he was like, that's so unbelievable, blah, 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 blah. And I thought he was joking, but he said today, he was like, no, I'm done watching it. I'm done with Walking Dead. So we'll see. I may be watching it by my lonesome anymore. I still enjoy it. I do agree with Andy that it is highly improbable that the way things worked out would be the way they worked out. But, you know, it is what it is. So, all right. Stash enhancement. I did get my December top of the month club shipment from Three Waters Farm, and it's beautiful, as always. So this month was Targhee, 100% Targhee, in the Lingering Light colorway. Look at that gorgeousness. Their eye for color is just stunning. So this has already been pictured and added to the stash, and maybe the random number generator will pick this one soon. But I love the squish. You can just feel the sponginess of Targhee, and yeah. So that's that. All right, I do have a quick magazine review for you. I was sent review copies for Chicago Knits magazine, Winter 2016. This is out now. 1, they're sending me review copies so that I can show them on the podcast, but 2, we actually got copies of this particular installment because it features Leading Men Fiber Arts not once but twice. And not only does it feature it, but our yarn is on the cover. So I had Instagrammed about this maybe a week or 2 ago. But this is an awesome design that we were approached about at Stitches Midwest, and actually the design was done by the time Vogue happened, and so Kim, who is the editor and publisher behind Chicago Knits, actually showed us some finished object pictures at Vogue, which was awesome. So this particular project I'll talk about in a little bit, but it features our callback base, our sport weight base, in Nude Scene, Imperial, and Poison Apple. So this is their superheroes edition, so they always have a theme to their particular issue, and it does come out quarterly. So there are some interesting things in this particular issue. So as always, they have interesting what's coming up. I always love to look and see, because they know about a lot more things than I do, what's coming up around the Midwest area, local spinning and knitting guilds that you can be part of. They have cool reads, some new books that are coming and hitting the scene, and then they always do cool new fibers. And so there are quite a few people here that I saw vended at Stitches, but then they also featured our fiber down at the bottom. So they did a little write-up about our merino base, and this is in the That Somewhere colorway, so that's really cool. I love the picture. I think the picture on the fiber turned out much better than when they showcased our yarn. They did a skein of foliage, and that was prior to us reskeining, or the reskeining didn't break up the colors as much as I liked, so I thought the fiber looked really good. They have some cool new tools and things like that. I did want to point out this really interesting, it's almost like a video, photo article of what should be and could be in your knitting bag as supplies that everyone should carry around with them. So I thought that was an interesting take. It wasn't just a list or separate objects, but it was I liked the photo option. So, and then of course they have some articles on things, some other patterns. But then the first pattern, or no, the second pattern in the magazine is for Stalwart, Steady, and True. This is by Eric T. Cormack, and it's labeled as a shawl project. I don't know how you would wear this as a legitimate shawl, but this is the cover project featuring our yarn. And as you can see, it's a decent size. I would say that I would not use this as a shawl. I would use it as an awesome baby blanket. So if you got a young boy being about to be born or has been born relatively soon, this would be a really cool project. Now, there is a note that says this pattern was made by a left-handed knitter, so it has both right-handed and left-handed instructions. So that may be intriguing for those of you out there who are left-handed and find that a lot of, you have to convert the patterns on your own. Now, I'm not completely aware of the differences between right-handed and left-handed knitting. I'm right-handed, I knit right-handed, but there are color-coded charts in here which are really nice. Looks like there's techniques you'll need to do are Emily Oker's cast on. I've never heard of that. Chart reading, Intarsia and the Round. Ooh. Not my cup of tea, but backwards loop increases, make one purlwise, and Jenny's surprisingly stretchy bind off. So I don't know. We'll have to see. I may be interested in having a shop sample of this done up. We'll see. I don't know. Anyway, so I thought that was really neat. So check that out. I'm sure it's on Ravelry as well. And then I thought this was really neat. This is the Bearded Man Scarf by Anno Made Knits. And so you can see it's got a nice chart, but then it also has a very small picture. But what's interesting about this is it is done colorwork style, but then you find a piece that calls for recycled fabric cut to the size of the scarf, and then you whip stitch it on, or blanket stitch the sewn, or the blanket stitch to sew recycled fabric to the back of the scarf. So I thought that was pretty neat. It doesn't really tell you though what weight yarn. I guess they give you the little number thing, but it calls for a 4. But then I don't see where it tells you what a 4 is according to them. So I'm assuming worsted weight, but that's one of my little things that, it's one of my little things that kind of irks me just a little bit, is just just those little bits of detail. Because it says 3 ounces of recycled yarn in a light color and 1 ounce of recycled yarn in a dark color. So I guess they're saying, try to be thrifty and recycle from, maybe thrift store sweaters and things like that. But maybe that's why they're not giving it. I don't know. And then the last thing I wanted to point out to you on this magazine was they always try to do something very much Chicago inspired. And so they do a lot of things with the Chicago colors, Chicago motifs and everything. And these are the Chicago Flag Mittens by Kim Richardson, who's the editor-in-chief of the magazine. And so I thought this was really really nice. It calls for sport weight. So it calls for a natural robin's egg blue and Christmas red in the Cascade 220 Sport. And here are the mittens. So they are very tried and true to their Chicago roots, and so they always try to give something that's very much Chicago inspired, and so I appreciate that a lot. So again, you can check out this issue now at chicagonitsmag.com, and you can either subscribe or purchase individual copies from there. So check them out. I'll have links in the show notes, which can be found at dramaticknits.com. So thank you so much to Kim and the team at Chicago Knits. All right, moving right along into a round of applause. So, Callie and I mentioned last week that Melissa Transtrom of Meltrans Designs, she released a new pattern called Color Tracks. And it's a wonderful hat that can either use half skeins of worsted weight, or you can use a mini skein set and actually hold the fingering weight held double, which is what she did with our mini skein set. So we gave her a mini skein set to play with and see what she can come up with, and she's actually knitting up a shop sample for us right now. And so it calls for worsted weight, but again, if you're going to use mini skeins of a fingering weight, you can just hold them doubled. So this is the Color Tracks hat. I didn't have the iPad to show you last week, but there is the hat with the beautiful Melissa, and there's the ones using our mini skeins. So let me bring up the other one. She has generously offered to give you all a copy, so we are going to have a thread open in the Dramatic Knits group, and what I'm going to ask for you to post is to tell me either kind of what hues, either you could tell me cooler colors or warmer colors, or you want to stick to greens, or you want to stick to blues or reds, or you can just say, I want to mix and match the colors. So just kind of give me an idea of what colors you would use, and you must be a member of the group in order to be eligible to win. 1 post per person, and I will use a random number generator next Sunday to pull for a winner. And yeah, I think that's it. So check that out. Thank you, Melissa, for donating a copy, and definitely go over and check out that pattern if it looks interesting to you. I think it's a really good way to use up not only mini skeins, but odds and ends of leftover yarn. All right. As I showed you with my Bah Humbug socks, Mint Rain hand-dyed yarns generously donated yarn for us to review, but they've also given you a coupon code good to the end of the year for 10% off your order, and that coupon code is Dramatic Knits 10. Dramatic Knits is all in caps, 10, and again, that's good until the end of the year, and you can use it at her Etsy shop, Mint Rain Hand-Dyed Yarns. We do want to tell you to enter all your finished objects, no matter when you started them, but any finished objects that you finish in the month of November, which you have till tomorrow, to post them into the November Race to the Finished Object contest. We have 2 prizes this month. The first is a beautiful hand-turned shawl pin from Artfully Wrapped on Etsy. The second is a pattern from our featured designer, who is Megan Sanders. So if you do end up finishing them after tomorrow, November 30th, check for the new thread, which will be the December 2015 Race to the Finished Object contest. Who would have thunk? But that will be the title. So the prizes for next month will also be a pattern from Megan, and then we also have a skein of yarn from Mint Rain that I showed off a week or 2 weeks ago. So beautiful blues and blacks and purples and things. So that's that. All right, so I'm going to go into a round of, no, not a round of applause. Center stage, all things Leading Men Fiber Arts. If you're not interested in the business aspect and things and news and showing you some goodies, then I will see you next Sunday after I come back from Indiana. So I'll have stories to share about that and hopefully more knitting progress, seeing as I'll be able to knit on the ride to and from Indiana. It's a 4-hour ride each way, so 8 hours. I should be able to get some knitting done. But until then, I'll see you next week. But let's move into center stage. So, first of all, I want to show you that on Tuesday, December 1st, we will have pre-orders go live probably after I get home from work. So, Tuesday night. We will have pre-orders go live for our December colorway of the month. So, do you want to see what it looks like? We've had a few trial skeins done for a while. And in fact, one of these is one of our trial skeins, our initial run. And we liked it so much that we decided to keep it for this month's colorway of the month. And I had initially named this Twilight. And then I showed Callie it, and Callie said, well, you know, it looks a lot like the forest in Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory during Wonka's song Complete Imagination. And so Andy's like, it does, doesn't it? So they decided to rename it Complete Imagination. So December's colorway will be called Complete Imagination, and here's what it looks like. So I think this is really, really gorgeous. So it's got these dark greens, and then this pink, purple, blue, and then there's also going to shots of like reddy, rusty brown in the greens. So there's Complete Imagination. And we will have pre-orders up in every base except Spotlight because we are unavailable to get any at this point. Our supplier is out. So it'll be up in every base except Spotlight from December 1st through December 8th. And at that point, we will take down pre-orders. Pre-orders do say they will ship out by the end of the month. They usually ship out within a couple days. We've never had more than a week's worth of wait, I believe. And that was on OMG Squee because that was very time and labor intensive for me. And that's why you don't see a whole lot of it in the shop. Like, very, like, back-breaking labor intensive. So these, check out the pre-orders for that. If you have any questions, feel free to email me on Ravelry, or you can also email the shop at leadingmenfiberarts@gmail.com. Think about it. All right, we do want to remind you that our Thanksgiving Progressive Sale is currently going on, and though it started off slow because the discount price, or the discount was very small, it did pick up in mass quantity yesterday when we turned over to 25% off everything in the shop. So thank you to everyone who's ordered. You guys blow us away with your support each and every year and every single day, honestly. Anybody who ever buys anything, we are honored that you choose to spend your hard-earned dollars with us. You know, we take a lot of pride in what we do, and we hope that shows in our customer service. So, and our product, of course. Today, if you're watching this, it's about 12:30, so hopefully by the time this all gets up, it'll be mid-afternoon. But if you are watching this today, you still have until midnight tonight, November 29th, Sunday, November 29th, midnight Central Standard Time, to get 25% off your entire order with the coupon code TURKEY. Turkey is in all caps. Tomorrow will be the final day of the sale, and that will be free domestic shipping to anywhere in the United States. So that'll be the last day of the sale, and then everything will go back to normal on Tuesday. But pre-orders will be up for the new colorway on Tuesday. So that's that. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to contact us. Also, and if you do want to take advantage of the sale through Monday night at midnight, if you put in a custom order through the website of 5 skeins or more, you can mix and match colors, bases, but it's got to be 5 items or more, custom ordered. We will give you an automatic 20% off. So we've had 1 or 2 people take advantage of that this year. All right, I do want to tell you about a new show I want to remind you that on December 12th, again, I will be doing a trunk show at Les Moutons Rouge Knittery in Bloomington, Illinois. I'll be there from 10 to 4. You can come meet me, check out our products. I'm hoping to bring everything we have in stock and then some, hopefully, if I can get it dyed up by then. And they will also have a trunk show from Zen Yarn Garden, as well as just under 1,000 skeins of Madeline Tosh showing up just prior to the hand-dyed holiday. So if you're within driving distance, I'd say come check us out. We did just add a new show to our calendar for next spring. We will be vending at Shepherd's Market in Marion, Iowa in May. I believe it's May 7th from 9 to 4. So if you are in the Iowa vicinity, I'm not really sure where Marion is. I just MapQuest it to know that it's going to take us about 4 hours to get there. So we'll probably drive up Friday night, set up Saturday morning, vend, drive back. So that is the plan. So you can check out Shepherd's Market. I think it's a little bit of a smaller show, but some really good vendors. I know Yarn Geek Fiber does that show usually, so and I think they do a spring and a fall. So I know we looked into it in the fall, and they were completely booked, so they were able to fit us in for spring, and that's awesome. So we'll be there. Check us out. All right. Do you want to see what I've updated this week? Okay. It's not a whole lot. And some of it's sold already, but of course I packaged that so you won't be seeing that. But we did have a couple new sock blanks go up. Those have already sold except for this one. This one is called 86, and it's an improv sock blank, meaning it's a one of a kind, never to be repeated. And this has lovely oranges and reds, some dark spots, which will give you some lovely speckling into your socks or knitted item. And then it's got varying hues, as you can see there. So a little more of a subtle sock blank, but yet still going to have a wonderful effect on your knitted item. So that's the only sock blank in the shop right now. Those have been going like hotcakes, which is good. Then I did put up a new mini skein set. It's a Show Stealer Minis. So we've got right here, we've got Dumb Luck, Metamorphosis, Man of Mystery, You Never Know, and Country Road. So these are 5 mini skeins equaling a skein of Show Stealers. So you've got 86 yards each, 20 grams each, for a total of 430 yards or 100 grams. So you lose about 5 yards due to the mini skein processing, but that's about it. So these would be great to do like maybe a tubular cowl with some stripes, or some funky socks. Yarn Hoarder Amber on Instagram just finished some mini skein socks out of another Crafty Girls Sesame Street pack, which were gorgeous. Saw those last night. Alright, so let's show some yarn. On Ghostlight, our lace weight base, which is 80% superfine merino, 20% silk, 875 yards, we've got Emerald City. Got one skein in that, and then I also did another skein on our showcase base, which is 490 yards of 100% superwash merino fingering weight. So you can see with the silk and the lace weight, it always comes out a little bit less vibrant, a little bit lighter than on any of our other bases. Also on lace weight, I've got Stage Kiss. I think we have 2 skeins of this up. On Showcase as well, we've got Glow Stick and Sangria and Fishbowl. That might be fun. This is a 3-color shawl. On Showstopper, which is 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon, 463 yards of a fingering weight, we have Merlot. And then on our callback base, which is 100% superwash merino, 328 yards of a sport weight, we have Drag Queen. And I have 1 skein of Apocalypse on callback. And then on our Playbill base, which is 100% superwash merino, 240 yards of a DK weight, single ply, we have Copper Cloud. And I believe this is the only skein we have left. I did 2 skeins and 1 sold. And last but not least, on our box office base, which is 100% superwash merino, worsted weight, we have Venetian Sunset. So again, if you'd like to stay up to date with what's been updated to the shop, I highly recommend that you follow us as Leading Men Fiber Arts on Instagram or like our Leading Men Fiber Arts page on Facebook. And you can also find our Leading Men Fiber Arts group on Ravelry. If you enjoy the podcast, please feel free to leave a star rating or a full rate and review if you watch us on iTunes, or if you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe to us or give us the give us the thumbs up. We'd greatly appreciate it. And you can always find the show notes and the show at our website, which is dramaticknits.com. In the right-hand side of the website, you can also get an email subscription to our website. So you can get an email from us every time that I update the website. So that's another way to follow us. So until next week, I guess, when I will be back from Indiana, but still sans Cali, I hope you knit something dramatic.